the diversity of ideas and the diversity of interests that they highlighted, and giving an opportunity to students who might not have gotten one otherwise, but have provided or will provide great benefit to society in regards to leadership, and bring that diverse like pool of ideas to the table, which is really necessary with the global problems we face.
Yeah, absolutely. So you brought up a lot in that, right? But something that you all need to know now, right? It is not a needs-based scholarship and it is not a diversity scholarship. However, we love diversity, right? And you saw that from the video, right? More diverse people can fill in the gaps, are more creative. And then Gianna, you brought up diversity in perspective. So when we talk about diversity, yes, we are talking about race, gender, ethnicity, class. We're talking about all of that. We're talking about religion. And we're also talking about diversity and perspective, because maybe there are 2 or 3 people in this room that identify as the same race. Maybe they have the same class, the same religion, the same sexuality, but they still have different experiences, right? They still come to the table with different perspectives because of their lived experiences. So we're also looking for diversity in here. So here, Daniela, what'd you write? The authenticity and genuine desire to make change from each other with each of the scholars was really nice to see. They're in for the greater good, right? The greater good of society. They are there to make an impact. And if that means an impact is like to be in the classroom, keeping the conversation going, right? Making an impact with elementary school students, making an impact of being a president of a college, right? When we think of leadership, when we think of making an impact, and that's actually a good idea. A good question, right? What kind of impact do you want to leave? What does that look like for you? It's a rhetorical question. You can just think about it. If you want to answer, that would be awesome. So it does this. So I got a message, right, that it creates opportunities to diverse groups of people with no limitation. That's absolutely true, right? That we're going to see you as a whole. We want to see all of you. We all have our own stuff. We're going to want to get that out of you. And if you don't want to share it, that's cool too, but we want to get to know you as much as possible. And we want to see you for everything that you are. Right. And what we call that in posse is a strengths-based model. We're looking at you from a strengths-based model, right? We're going to see your strengths. All right. So again, posse started back in 1989 when a student said that he wouldn't have dropped out of college if he had his posse with him. We probably don't use the term posse anymore, right? We probably use like squad or crew, but back in the 80s, posse was the term. And also I will say things from the 80s are definitely coming back. So posse could be that term. So remember I started talking about that network, right? And one of my co-trainers that I worked with, John, he told me this. He said, your network is your net worth. And it took me a minute and I was like, that's fabulous, right? Like that's really true. The posse network, just for posse scholars, is 10,000 people. This year we selected our 10,000th scholar, and this is across the country, right? So from 1989 to now, we are in 10 different cities across the country. We are in LA, we're in Houston, we're in New Orleans, DC, Boston, Chicago. We're in all these big cities, okay? And when you think about how many people are in those cities and how many partnerships we have. So nationally, we partner with 63 colleges and universities. In Miami specifically, we partner with 6. I'll talk about those 6 schools a little bit later. But going back to just where we're at now nationally, it's large. That is when you think of 10,000 scholarships, that's over $1.6 billion in scholarships. All right, so that's quite a lot. And when we talk about the network, we're not talking about just when you're in school. We're also talking about the network that you'll have once you graduate. That this is not just a scholarship, and you'll hear me not talk too much about the scholarship. I'll get to it because that's obviously a huge point of interest for a lot of people, and it's a huge benefit. And it's also the support system and the network out after you graduate from college. This is definitely more of a movement, as you can see. How can we make sure that you're a leader in the workforce? What impacts do you want to make in your community? I just want to recognize this comment, something that stood out to you or to me, that was the way in which the organization doesn't restrict students from reaching their dreams. Absolutely, right? We are here to support your dreams. And how do we help you reach them? So this is all about support, okay? So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to share a little bit more about our program components. And it's a little bit easier with a visual. Some folks might appreciate visuals. All right, can y'all see this? We're good? All right.
We're good.
So there are technically 5 program components to POsse. So our first one is DAP. This is the dynamic assessment process. We have a lot of acronyms, so please, it's not gonna be a quiz. You don't have to memorize it, but we have a lot of acronyms. The dynamic assessment process is our unique evaluation method to identify these young leaders who have great potential, despite maybe some hiccups they've had academically, right? Or they've struggled in the SAT or ACT because of test anxiety, for example, right? That's real. That is real. So we want to get to know you a little bit better, right? How would you define your leadership? What is your grit? What does your resilience look like? So we identify you and we see you through our DAP, right? So DAP 1 happens in August through September, or until September, the beginning of September, and it's our large group dynamic interview. It can be anywhere between 100 to 150 students in a room. Obviously, we're doing things a little virtual now, but still the same goes, right? We have about 100 students in a virtual space, and we're having you do different activities. And you're having really great conversations with a lot of people. You're learning a little bit more about yourself through all of these interviews. So everyone who's nominated, right? And I want to pause and talk about nominations for a second. Anyone who's nominated to be to POsse to DAP is invited to DAP 1. So whether Harry Nuremberg, Mr. Nuremberg nominates you, or a community-based organization nominates you, you can still nominate yourself. All right, just know that. If you nominate yourself, make sure you're telling Mr. Nuremberg that you're and Linda that you're nominating yourself, so they know, okay, these people are on my list, so I can help support them and all of that. Everyone who's nominated is invited to the first round. Okay, so from DAP 1 to DAP 2, DAP 2 happens from September to October, and that's more of either a one-on-one or a two-on-one with 2 POsse staff, 1 POsse staff, and you. All right, it's one or the other, but it's always just going to be with you. And that's when we really dive into, why do you want POsse? What are your goals and dreams, right? What does support look like for you? How do you define your leadership? What are the top 3 schools that you want to go to? I am going to emphasize that point again. What are the top 3 schools that you want to go to? We will ask that in DAP 3. What I'm asking you to do now, if you are serious about this opportunity and really want to go forward with it, research all 6 of our schools in depth and really try to figure out, okay, which school do I see myself at the most? What is the second most? What is the third most? Okay, we will always try to match you with your first school. If we can't, we will try to match you with your second. If worst comes to worst, we will match you with your third. Some students come in and they're like, I will love to go to all 6, and that's great for them and makes them a little bit more marketable in that way. So just make sure that you are really researching before you get to even DAP 1, to be honest. And I'm sure Mr. Nuremberg is going to ask you to research even before then. So just keep an eye on that. So DAP 2 goes from September to October. We're doing a lot of individual interviews during that 5-week period of time. So DAP 3 takes place in December. So after DAP 2s, that's when we start looking at, all right, who do we want to be a finalist for our 6 schools? There are 20 finalists for each school. So it's 120 students, 120 finalists. We will let you know, like, hey, we want you to be a finalist. If right then and there you're like, absolutely, I accept to be a finalist, then great. We will give you time to RSVP. We will give you almost a week to figure this out if you want to RSVP to be a finalist. And I say that because if you decide to be a finalist, you will have to sign the early decision agreement for that school specifically. All right, so posse is an early decision process. It is an early decision program. Now, what that means, which maybe most of you know this, is that you can only sign early decision a binding contract that if you get selected to be a posse scholar, then you are bound to go, legally bound to go to this school. Okay, but what it means also is that you got the scholarship, you're admitted immediately to that school. So if you're like, I don't really know if I want to actually go to this school, maybe it's best that you aren't a finalist, or maybe you really, really get serious about, can you see yourself there? Do more research. And if you say yes, then you're a finalist. If you say no, which is okay, just know that it's okay to say no, then you stop moving through the process. But we will have a whole family meeting before that point. So your family has more information about the school that you were selected for, as well as the posse program. Hopefully you all are already talking to your family members about this opportunity. I see something in the chat. Oh, just Harry. Okay. So then if you decide, yes, I want to be a finalist for DAP3, that's when, and this is my favorite interview, because the actual folks from like the administration, the administrators from that college or university will come down and meet you, right? So oftentimes that's the dean of admissions. Sometimes it's the president of a college. They're professors on that campus, but not only do they get to meet you face to face or virtually, right? But you get to meet them and you actually get to know a lot about them. So when you apply through any application process, right, it's typically going to be, they're going to look at your application, it's going to be on the paper or on the computer. They don't ever really get to meet you and get to know you and your personality and your energy and all of that. During DAP3, that all will happen. They'll get to meet you and you'll get to meet them. Okay, so that happens in December. So out of those 20 people, those 10 are selected. If you are one of those 20, but one of those 10 that aren't selected, we have what's called posse access. And so finalists who are not selected are eligible for posse access, which means your application gets put into our system where all 63 of our partner schools can look in and look at your application and possibly offer you admissions. I want to give you an example. This happens quite often. I want to give you an example of this past DAP season. There was a student, an amazing artist. All 20 students that are finalists, for us, we're like, you could be a posse scholar, right? So this kid, we were like, he could be a posse scholar just like any of them. Unfortunately, he wasn't selected. However, Bard College, from Posse Access, reached out to him and offered him a full tuition scholarship and more. So it happens. And oftentimes, if you're not selected, that's the same school that you were a finalist for will still offer regular admissions to you. Okay, so that's an option as well. It's another layer of support that Posse offers. Okay, so that's DAP. So I want to pause here and I want to ask you this. What is one trait you would use to describe a leader? Please put that in the chat. Think about it. What is one trait that you would use to describe a leader? Compassion. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, I love this. Amazing. Confident. I heard confident a lot. I heard empathy a lot.
I'm looking for letters.
Motivated.
I'm looking for words to steal for letters of recommendation.
Right. Yeah. I'm really helping you out here, Harry. This is actually what I'm doing. Acceptance, courage. I've seen brave a lot, empathetic, compassion, unapologetic, receptive. All of these are so great. Now, by a show of hands, whatever word you used, would you use that to describe yourself, your leadership? By a show of hands. Don't be humble. For real, for real, for real. Don't be humble in this space. Okay, I had to say that, and now y'all are like, yeah, me. Okay, I love it. All right, so I'm doing this because I want to pause and talk a little bit more about leadership, okay, and what leadership looks like with posses. So when you think about leadership, oftentimes people think about traditional leadership, whether that means that you're the president of a club or you're the captain of a team, or you're just like that more outspoken one up in front, more extroverted, right? I was like trying to think of the word, sorry, more extroverted. And that's what we think about when you think about traditional leadership. Yes, posse for sure looks at that type of leadership. And we also look at what we call non-traditional leadership. So by a show of hands, who here, and I know that this is a weird question with COVID and everything, but who here has an after-school job? I know that that's hard because COVID can limit that. So some people are raising their hand, okay. Who here is a caregiver for someone in your family or a loved one or a friend even, a caregiver? Who helps watch their siblings? Okay. Who here feels like they're an academic leader? Or you sit in the front of the class and you keep the conversation going, that you like just love to do that and be that type of motivator in that way? Okay, less people. That's cool, no worries, but there's some people that raise their hand, love it. All right, so all of these things that I mentioned, and obviously there are many things that I haven't mentioned, that's non-traditional leadership. So that is what we look for as well. And going back to diverse perspectives, we're also looking for diverse leadership when we're looking at a posse, right? We can't have the same type of leader. Like we can't have all 10 being the same type of leader. That just literally won't work. So we need people who are more quiet and more introverted and like to support from behind or like to actively listen, some of these things, right? Being understanding and active listening and receptive, right? We need those people. Yes, we also need people who are passionate, who are outspoken, who will lead the group in a different way than the next person. So I want you all to know, and this is outside of posse, right? That you all, and I know this might sound cheesy and all of that, but I promise you, you all have leadership and you all are leaders. You just have to figure out what that looks like for you, right? What kind of leader are you? That's it. But you all have it. It's just, what is it? How do you define it? And I'll give you a little insight, right? Into the DAP process. We will ask you to define your leadership style. Start thinking about that, not for posse. Start thinking about that for yourself though, okay? But if you are gonna go through the posse process, also think about it for that. So, let me share my screen again. Just keep it going. All right, so this is the point that the posse scholars in this room, they're doing this right now. And I'm gonna ask them, not now, but whenever it's your time to talk more about, to talk a little bit about PCT. But PCT, another acronym, it stands for pre-collegiate training. So once you're selected as a posse scholar, from January to August of your senior year, you will come into the office or virtually, depends on where we're at next year, right? Right now we're doing it virtually. You're gonna come into the office once a week for 2 hours, and it's always gonna be after school from 4 to 6, all right? And we're gonna run different workshops. You're gonna have 2 trainers who are gonna facilitate these workshops for you. And the 4 different areas that we touch on are academic excellence, team building and group support, cross-cultural communication, and leadership, and becoming an active agent of change on campus. So for academic excellence, we are running workshops, writing workshops. We are gonna run time management, financial planning, which does have to do with academic excellence once you get to college, actually. So we're gonna run a lot of different workshops to prepare you academically to get on campus. The whole point of PCT is for you to get to know your posse and to feel really prepared to get to campus, right? So you're not just walking onto campus. When you hit the ground, you're running. You know people already on campus. You know some of the conversations that are happening. You know the resources that are there to support you. So other things that we do are team building. Again, you need to, it's really rare for you to like know someone in your posse. Sometimes it happens, it might be one or two other people that you might know, but oftentimes you're not going to know anyone. So when you come in, it can be a little scary at first, like, who are these people? I'm going to be with them for the next 5 years. But we make it so engaging in such a thoughtful and a thought-provoking space that you actually really look forward to going to that and getting to know people in your posse. So some of the team building and group support we run are like, literally, we do trust falls. Sometimes we run support. We run conflict resolution, which is a skill that you should have, not just with your posse, but in life, right? If you don't already have that skill, but conflict resolution. We have a whole summer retreat that's planned for you. And we run Myers-Briggs. We talk about group dynamics. We have like a ropes course that we do. This is obviously when we're in person. So there are other things that we do to ensure that there are team building and group support activities happening, okay? So when we talk about cross-cultural communication, this is when we're diving into workshops such as race, class, gender, sexuality, religion, politics. All of those things are cross-cultural communication workshops. And that's because you all come, and the way that the trainers approach it, they're facilitating, they're not teaching you anything. Right? There's literally, like, you just came from school. The last thing that you want to do is go into another lecture. We're not sitting here and teaching you about these things. We're sitting here facilitating a conversation, right? Through interactive activities. So you are getting to know your posse, their perspectives. You're opening up and being a little bit vulnerable yourself and talking from you're the expert of your own life, right? You're the expert of your identities, right? So that's what you're bringing to those conversations. And then the last one, we're going over leadership and becoming an active agent of change, right? So when you get to campus, we're helping you already, when you're a senior in high school, understand the system at your school, right? The hierarchy. Who are the people that are going to support you? How do you peacefully protest? How do you write proper demands, right? What does campus look like, and how do you actually be a leader? Right? And sometimes that means just going to class and getting your degree. And that is all we expect from you, right? We do want you to be agents of change and create change in your own way. And that often means to just keep up with your coursework and graduate, right? Because you're going to get a leadership position in the workforce. And because you all are already natural leaders, you're going to take on leadership positions, but we don't expect that of you. We don't want to put any additional pressure on you. So we're like, listen, we just want you to graduate. That's just focus on that. And of course, you're going to want to get into clubs and activities, and we encourage you to do so. So that's PCT. So once you finish PCT, that's when you go to campus in the fall. And we're not like, all right, good luck, hope it works out for you. No, we have a whole campus program, all right? So mentors play a huge role on campus. So you're paired with a mentor who is typically a tenured faculty or staff member. And they are like specifically paired for your posse, and they're someone who knows the campus, who will help you navigate it, who is going to be one of your biggest resources on campus. You're still meeting with your posse once a week for the first 2 years of college, right? And that is a really cool moment to just touch base, because when you're on campus, we encourage you like to spread out, right? Like the change will happen more if you all are making new friends, if you're going off and joining clubs and organizations, right? And you're taking the campus by storm. That was one of the quotes in the video, right? But at the end of the day, right, every week you're coming back to your posse. Oftentimes the posses, they hang out all week anyway, right? And that's great, but you still have a touch point. And then you're meeting with your mentor once a week or once every other week on an individual basis. Not only that, posse staff, the ones who trained you, the trainers, myself, Nadine, who's the director, we fly up to campus 4 times a year. That's a lot. And we go in, we check in with you. We run what's called a Posse Plus retreat. We run big meetings and all of that. So Posse Plus retreats are weekend-long retreats discussing important campus issues. All right. So this past year, we ran the state of leadership. The year before, we ran the State of the Union, right? We've done gender and sexuality. We've done so many, like something called Sticks and Stones, and they're all a purpose. But not only are you invited to this, but you get to invite maybe some friends that you've made on campus, some professors and faculty, some people that you're like, you should probably be in this conversation right now, right? So it becomes a campus-wide conversation. So Posse Scholars graduate at a rate of 90%. That's nationally for us, that's our national statistic. For us in Miami, we're at like 92%, and that is much larger than the national rate, which is about 58%. All right, so think about that. Also, around 57% of our Posse Scholars are first-generation students, and more than 400,000 students have participated in the Posse Plus retreat. So just some interesting facts. Okay. So I want to do another little quick activity, and I want to gauge your interest in things, right? I heard you all put passionate, right? And passion down as like a leadership trait and characteristic. I want to know, what are you all passionate about? And you could write it in the chat. What is something that like just draws to you, whether it's a social justice thing, or you're just really, really passionate about playing the guitar or anything, okay? Helping others, creating, politics and philosophy. What are some things that, ooh, storytelling. I love that. I was talking to someone else the other day about narrative digital storytelling, and that's what they want to do eventually. And I was like, man, that's awesome. Advocacy, sports, climate activism, feminism, family, absolutely, for sure. I'm super passionate about my family too. Democratizing technology, social media, equality. Y'all are really cool. Just want to like hang out with you guys. I love this. Human rights, for sure, for sure. Sports, absolutely, same. Passionate about sports. Awesome. So again, these are things, so during the Posse Plus retreat, right, we'll send out a survey being like, what do you want to talk about? And we want to talk about things that you're also passionate about. But we're also going to talk to you during the DAP process. What is something you're passionate about? And we want to dive into that. Again, we want to get to know you as a whole. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again because we're getting down to the good stuff. This is actually all the good stuff too. But. So not only, wait, can you all see this? All right, cool.
Yeah, we're good.
So after you graduate, right? Again, we don't leave you. I talked to you about this in the beginning. We're a movement, but we have a whole career and alumni program. So even during, this starts in PCT, all right? Zoe, who's our career program manager, she's literally amazing. She actually runs career workshops with you when you're a senior in high school. And she's starting to talk to you about how do you develop a good resume, something that you will use when you go to campus. Right? So she will help you develop a good resume. What does it look like to write a really good cover? All right, and who here, by a show of hands, and not that I can see all of you really right now, but by a show of hands, who wants to have a paid internship during the summer, right? Something that you're like super interested in, you want to get more information, you want to get that connection. I see a lot of people raising their hands. That's absolutely right.
Miss Dwyer rose her hand. I saw her hand go up.
I'll take money all day long. Let's go.
Same, absolutely. Listen, hustle. That's all I gotta say. Keep hustling. All right, that's awesome. So why I mentioned that is because I would say about 85 to 90% of our scholars throughout undergrad and during the summer have paid internships. Right, so we're really, really intentional about making sure that you're connecting with people and connecting with opportunities that are going to propel you forward in life, right, to those goals and those dreams. We keep touching back to that, right? So that's all just while you're in school. When you are out of school and you graduate, we have a whole Posse portal. We post jobs. We run alumni interview workshops and activities. We just do a ton of different things to make sure that you're landing a job that you really love. Again, I mean, here's a statistic here. 48% of alumni are out of school for 5 or more years, or either have a graduate degree or working towards one. That is huge. So when you look at that percentage of the 10,000, almost 5,000 of those people have graduate degrees after 5 years of graduating from undergrad. That's wild. All right. So since 2001, Posse Scholars and Alum have won more than 500 prestigious national fellowships. All right. So I know some of our scholars who have won Fulbright, Gilman, the UBIN Fellowship, which is Posse specific. Posse has 200 career programs that offer internships and jobs to Posse scholars. Posse Miami, like all the Posse sites, we also have a paid internship over the summer that we offer. So we're all about making sure that you're getting in all the experience that you want. Some of our scholars throughout the summer are like, I need to just take a break and go be with family. And we're like, okay, but also how can we engage you in these workshops to keep you thinking about things? And also if you just want to take a break, we respect you and you do that. The point is we are here to add additional support. So I want to talk about the scholarship, all right, the financial overview. So the Posse partner schools are the ones that provide the scholarship. It is a full tuition 4-year scholarship. Now, what that means is it covers the cost of all your courses at the college and university. What it doesn't include is room and board, that books, meal plans, and other fees, school fees. All right, Posse does not cover that. However, hopefully you all are already thinking about filling out your FAFSA, which opens up October 1st. I feel weird saying this because I know like both Linda or I keep using y'all's first name, sorry. Miss Dwyer and Mr. Nurnberg have probably already gotten you all on this kick, right? Of FAFSA's coming up October 1st and right? And that's like next year. Well, it's technically this year, but you know what I mean. That's when you're a senior. But you're filling out your FAFSA, you're filling out your CSS profile, you're filling out your iDocs sometimes, depending on the school. So you can still receive additional financial aid to help you cover the cost of room and board. It's not just the scholarship, okay? So outside of that, Posse does provide additional scholarships that we will send you, right? Like here is X, Y, and Z scholarship. This is how much it is. Look into it. So, and like make sure that you specify that needs to go to your room and board, all of this. A lot of our Posse scholars also their second year of college become RAs, and that's the resident advisor or house advisor, right? And that is someone who is supporting the dorms and that floor, and so supporting the other students that are on campus in that dorm specifically. That significantly cuts down on your costs. And when you think about Posse scholars, again, it being prestigious, a leadership scholarship, people want Posse scholars to be RAs. A lot of our Posse scholars become RAs, and that significantly cuts down on the cost. Also, because of our internship experiences, the paid internships over the summer, a lot of our Posse scholars are saving that money for the next year for room and board, okay? So you are able to get more than just the tuition. Just want to emphasize that. So I want to talk about our partner schools really quickly. So again, Posse nationally partners with 63 colleges and universities. I already talked about Posse recruits from 10 cities across the country, and Posse partners with some of the best colleges and universities in the nation. It's Posse's goal to actually partner with 100 of the top colleges, like the Forbes 100 colleges in the United States, colleges and universities. So our partner schools are within the 100. Those 63 are within the top 100. When you look at it, there are over 4,000 accredited colleges and universities in the country, and Posse partners with the top 63, right, or top 100. So among those, Posse Miami recruits from 6 of those colleges and universities. And those colleges are Davidson College, Franklin and Marshall College, Hamilton College, Mount Holyoke College, Pomona College, and Syracuse University. All right, so those are the 6. I'm going to go through them a little bit more in depth, but again, I want to put this out there really, really quickly. All of these schools are out of state. All of our schools are out of state, okay? So I want to know Who here has like even thought about going out of state for school? You can raise your hand. Oh, good. Good. Awesome. So many of you have like considered it. All right, that's good to know. That's good to know. All right. So I'm gonna go back. So I'm like looking at like a couple different screens, trying to stay on task. All right. So Davidson College is located, here are some facts. I know it's really, really small, but before I even go into this, y'all are gonna really need to research these schools. So I'm just gonna briefly go over them, and I really just trust that you all will do your research and find that those couple schools that really, really fit what you need and what you want. Because we do not wanna send you to a school that you're not gonna be successful at and you're not gonna feel good at. All right, that's not what we're here for.
Jessica,
So,
if I can interrupt for one quick second. All 6 schools have really good score websites, right through score.
mhm.
So I just want
Yep.
to know, shortcut it right there.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so Davidson College is located in Davidson, North Carolina. It's about 19 miles north of Charlotte. Something that's really unique to Davidson is called the Davidson Trust. It's the first liberal arts college to eliminate loans from all financial aid packaging, which allows students to graduate debt-free. The additional need is met through grants, student employment, and parental contribution. Something that's really cool and unique again about Davidson is their honor code. Tests and exams aren't even proctored. Sometimes they are, depending on the professor, but professors will assign take-home tests and exams and quizzes and all of that. You like walk onto campus, like one of the first things you do is literally sign this honor code. And it's a whole ceremony, it's a whole celebration. The 3 folks in this room right now who are going to Davidson could probably tell you a little bit more about it. They haven't done the honor code ceremony yet, but they will be. But final exams are self-scheduled, so you can prepare for and take them in your preferred sequence, right? Like however, whatever space works for you, the timing that works for you, and all of that. So it has one of the best pre-med programs in the country. 80% of students who graduate on the pre-med track are accepted into med school. Okay, so if you are thinking about pre-med, this is definitely a school to think about. So Franklin and Marshall College is located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The nearest major cities are Philly, Baltimore, New York City. And all of these are really accessible by train. It's about an hour-and-a-half ride to Philly and a 3-hour ride to New York City. So this is in like Amish country, all right? But don't let the Amish and the rural landscape fool you. The city is really beautiful and vibrant, and it has a lot of character and charm with modern amenities, such as restaurants and social activities. So don't think that you don't have that. You really, really do. They have a really great summer scholarship program. Students work side by side with faculty members for research opportunities. The housing system is really unique. I know this is somewhat of an outdated saying, but the housing system is very similar to like Harry Potter in a lot of ways, where like you're sort of matched by personality, but they have like house games. It's student run, and that's why we say that. It's student run. So it's all about building community and building this feeling of oh shoot, what's the word I'm looking for? But like belonging, essentially, and like acceptance. So that's really cool. They have a really strong government program. So if you're into government and even business, those are the top 2 programs at Franklin and Marshall. So take a look at that. Hamilton College is located in Clinton, New York, which is an upstate. It definitely prides itself on its open curriculum. As you can see from this picture, the college is like literally on top of a hill, right? And it's, I mean, literally look at this view. It's gorgeous. But they have what's called an open curriculum. So you can actually create your own major, or they'll help support you in creating your own major. So if you're interested in a bunch of different things, don't let that scare you of like, oh my God, I have to pick only one thing, right? No, you can somehow, with Hamilton's support and like advisor support, be able to create your own major, okay? They also have a really amazing writing and theater program. It actually has the best study abroad program out of all of our partner schools. They have over 100 programs in over 50 different countries. So another thing about Posse is that the Posse scholarship will cover your study abroad, and we encourage it. It doesn't cover room and board and flights and all of that. There are a lot of grants at our schools that will help you cover that. But we definitely encourage you to go and like see the world and explore. All right. So our next school is Mount Holyoke College, and it's located in South Hadley, Massachusetts. It's about 3 hours from Boston. It's a historically women's college. So essentially what that means is it's open to gender nonconforming, trans, gender fluid people, but people who are born biologically or cisgender male. Those who identify as that cannot apply, but you can visit, right? And that's something that's really unique. The way we say it is like, it's pretty much like all historically women's in the dorm, but in the classroom and on the campus, there are all the different types of genders, okay? And what's really unique and really cool about Mount Holyoke is that it's a 5-college consortium. It's a part of a 5-college consortium. So they partner with Smith College, UMass, so you can go and take courses at those schools and it will apply to your Mount Holyoke transcript. So that's really cool. It's the oldest institution within the Seven Sister Schools, and the Seven Sister Schools is an alliance of elite East Coast liberal arts colleges that arose as a female equivalent to then the male-dominated Ivy League Harvard, right? So it's like the female Harvard back then when it was created. So another really cool piece similar to Hamilton is that you can incorporate 2 or more departments. So sort of like the open curriculum. So you can do like mathematician, or biomathematics, musical theater. There are just different things that you can combine. So that's Mount Holyoke. Pomona College is located in Claremont, California. This is our only West Coast school. It's also part of a consortium with Harvey Mudd, Claremont McKenna, all of the, a few other schools, which also means you could take courses there and it'll apply to your Pomona transcripts. This is actually one of the most prestigious liberal arts colleges in the country. It's ranked number 4. They have a really great summer internship program that funds about 80 internships each year, academic year, provides the paid opportunities for over 130 students. So if you really enjoy like media and show business, obviously LA is right around the corner. That's not what LA is only known for. It is a really cool city. It's about 45 minutes away. So last but not least, Syracuse University. It is located in Syracuse, New York. It is our only partner school with an engineering major. However, all of our partner schools have engineering programs that they offer 3-2 programs. So 3 years at the school and 2 years somewhere else. So for example, Pomona, they partner with Caltech, and that's where you'll finish the engineering degree off. But the Posse scholarship does not cover the 2 other years. So if you want to do engineering, essentially your school is going to be Syracuse, unless you're cool with going to any of the other schools and doing a 3-2 program. I would also say, and this is something that I talk to a lot of students about, oftentimes you're going to need to get your master's in engineering. So what type of engineering do you want to get? And if you want to do Posse, if you want to have this scholarship, if you want to still go to one of these schools, you can major in something that will support you in engineering, right? So do you want to do physics? Do you want to do computer science? Those types of things, then go get your master's in engineering. That's another route. So here are some things to keep in mind when researching the schools. Focus on academics first, right? Do they have the major that you're looking at and some of the classes that are required for that major? Can you design your own major? What are some research or internship opportunities that are available? And what are some average class sizes, right, that are a part of these institutions? all 5 of our colleges are small liberal arts colleges with a student to faculty ratio of about 9 to 1 or 10 to 1. So it's small, right? But you get a lot of benefits from that. So you also want to consider some social factors, right? The clubs that you might want to join. Do they have community service? The housing assignments. Definitely use multiple sources when you're researching. So not only the school website or SCORE, definitely look at brochures. Even look up YouTube and social media and some alum from those schools. And then don't be afraid to start something you don't see, right? So we're really big on, if there's not a club or an organization at that college, you can start it. You can literally start your own club and organization, which is really empowering for a lot of people. So I am gonna be able to like open this up for questions after the scholars here talk, but I just wanna give you some next steps. Make sure you identify your nominator, which you all know who they both are, and get nominated. Do your research and continue being a leader. Okay, if you want to learn more about Posse, we have our website, it's thepossefoundation.org. I also want to take a moment to put in after they talk, I'm going to put in a form for you to fill out. So if you do want additional information from us specifically, you can do that as well. But I'm going to pause. I did a ton of talking, so thank you for bearing with me, for staying with me. But how did you want to do this, Harry? Did you want the scholars to talk? How do you
I
want to do
think they can do it however if they want to say something. They were in this situation last year a little differently, but I think they have words of advice that they can give. Just while I have the thing for a second, remember that Jess's form is different than my form. And for the case somebody pops off, I will contact all of you through email. I'll be the contact, even though Ms. Dwyer is doing it with me. I want to keep it to one email. So I will send you out an email probably over spring break on the email you gave me.
Just make
Okay?
sure everyone did the Google form before they leave.
Yeah, the Google, I'll put it in one more time. And then, guys, I trust you guys are the experts right now. You were sitting where they were sitting last year this time. So I'll choose first. Kayla, you go first.
Hi everyone, my name's Kayla. I'm going to Davidson College in North Carolina next year. I think Jess did a really good job talking about like the overall process. So something I'll just recommend that I think was really important to me was just being myself and being really authentic, and not just through the posse process, but also just in everyday life, friendships, relationships, school. Just be yourself. Don't try to be like someone else. I remember going through the process and I would hear someone else say something and be like, "Ooh, that was so much better than what I said," or feel like I didn't say enough or what they were looking for. Trust me, whatever comes to mind first is exactly what you should say. I think they really are just looking for a well-rounded person, not just in academics, not just social life, community service. It's a little bit of everything, and that's what makes each one of you so unique and special. Good luck, and I'm really open to, if you guys want to contact me or text me for questions, I'll help more if you guys need anything.
Kayla, do you want to throw your email in the chat so they can have it?
For sure, I'll do it right now.
That was really great, Kayla. Yeah, she got the nail on the head with that one. Yeah, hi, I'm Brianna. I'm also going to Davidson College as well. I wish I was in your position again because I loved experiencing posse for the first time. Of course, I knew about it, but watching those videos and stuff makes me emotional. Like, it's very cool to be in this position. My advice would be like, if you know which college you're looking into, like reach out to people at the college, maybe if you're interested in a certain major and stuff, maybe get in touch with the professors, do your research. It's very important. Yeah, and also I'm only speaking for Davidson in particular, but they do have other scholarships. Like I got the theater scholarship at Davidson, and that was due with the early decision, like in November. So make sure you're looking for those as well. But yeah, just be yourself. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I'll take over. Good job, Brianna. So I'm Alexis. I'm also going to Davidson for the Posse Scholarship. So it's all three of us, coincidentally. I want to say that video that Jess played, she played it, I remember, right before the DAB3 finalist interview. And our parents were there. And I remember sitting there and I just started crying like mid-meeting. And I was like, I want this so bad. Like, and my parents were like, you like, we can tell how passionate you are about it, whatever. And sitting in that finalist interview, the thing that I have to say to you guys is don't be nervous. Don't sit there 10 minutes before freaking out, because the interviews are a lot more about getting to know you than saying the right answer. It's not about what sounds best, you know, what makes you sound like the most qualified. It's them getting to know you and seeing the potential that's actually inside of you. So yeah, again, like Kayla, I'll put my email in the chat. If you guys want to reach out, I'm there to help you. Yeah.
And if I could just say something about our, can I say something about our process, Jess, while they're still here? So I will send you out that email just to make sure it's you, and you can email me back. And then for the next couple of months, as long as you continue with the process and show your desire, like these three people just talked to you about, we will find a way to get you in the process. And that's the whole key though, but we need to know that you want it. If you don't want it, it's going to come out just by not being able to do what I'm going to ask you to do. Nothing's going to be difficult. Nothing's going to be hard. It's just watching on score and reading your emails, because that's going to be the key. If you can keep in communication with Mrs. Dwyer and myself, then you are going to be on the road to starting this game. And it's an amazing game. And I call it a game, Jess. I'm sorry, but it is. This should be like American Idol to get in college. So you're muted, Jess.
No, I was laughing. I'm like, that's a good way to put it. That I would watch. I would totally watch.
Oh, this totally could be a TV show.
Yeah, it's not, because it's your life and like we take it really seriously. So just saying that. But yeah, I hear you. I also put my email in the chat. So please reach out to me anytime. Please take a moment to fill out the form. It'll literally take you maybe 1 minute. It's up there. I can try to re-put it here.
Yeah.
But I want to open up the space. Do folks have any questions? Please raise your hand. You can put a question in the chat. But while I'm here, or if you have questions even for the scholars that are here, Gianna, go for it.
I was just going to ask, I know Mr. Nuremberg said via email that they would keep in touch with any events, opportunities, or any updates, but do you know of any events like coming up? Because I know, like you said, like it was a little far from now, starting next school year. Are there anything in between them that we could attend or be interactive with the Posse Foundation?
Yeah, I love that. So once you're nominated, which will happen in May or June, you will have to fill out the DAP1 application. But if you sign up for, like, if you fill out that the form that I just sent, we're gonna be emailing folks throughout the summer. We're trying to figure out if we could have sort of like an open office hour or sort of like a social in a way. So we're figuring that out, but I love that question and that idea. So thank you. The short answer is no, but we have opportunities for you to still engage with our email, reach out to me. I've had a lot of like students who ended up being scholars who just started reaching out, and I'm not necessarily suggesting this to be like a thing, but they kept me updated. They let me know like what they thought about schools. So like if you want to still engage me in a conversation, you can do that too.
I have a question. So just because I'm pretty new to all this too. So one more, I've already gotten a couple messages. So one more time, I know you've said it, but if I'm super unclear, then maybe someone else is too. So they've joined this. If they're interested, they do the Google Doc. Mr. Nuremberg gets that, and he will email that group a couple different times with different instructions that at some point, how does the nomination work again? Do they say, Mr. Nuremberg, will you nominate me? Can you be a little bit more clear on the nomination process, please?
Should I answer that?
Yeah, Harry, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because it's really very simple. Okay, I'm going to give you assignments to do. You're going to come back in the last 2 weeks of May. You and I are going to meet, and we will get you nominated if you want to be nominated. There's various ways to be nominated. You could be nominated by the school. You could be nominated by Posse alumni, who we have a lot of. And we have also the 4 finalists that also can nominate. And we're going to work together as a team, and we will put together a team of nominations that we will give to Posse at the end of May. I believe that's when it's due, right? Right around that, right before we leave for the end of the year. At that point, because I'm retiring, I'm passing everything off to Mrs. Dwyer. And like really nothing does happen except you have to fill out this application to send into them for DAP 1. And then I think it was Kayla said it, the only advice you will ever get from me or Mrs. Dwyer is be yourself. Okay, and that is really, that's and if you do DAP 1 in person, I would tell you, ladies, wear slacks. That's about all. Okay, and that's really because you guys have to be yourself. You get on the ground if you're in person. So I had a girl once come back, Mr. Nierenberg, you should have told me not to wear that skirt. So that's the only piece of advice I'll ever give besides be yourself, because it is, if you try to be somebody else, you're not going anywhere in this one. Same thing with all your college applications. If it's not truly you, they're going to see it's fake. So it's just be yourself. So we'll get you through the process just by you showing interest.
Yeah. There's a really, really good question about how important are the grades in the application process. So we actually don't have like a minimum GPA or SAT requirement. However, I will say that we are looking for students who take their academics seriously, right? Again, during that DAP 2 process, if you have a grade that's like a C, D, or even an F, right? And we see that all the time in 9th or 10th grade, we're gonna ask you, right? Like, what was going on during that time? Talk to us. What's your story, right? Most likely someone like you have a story, right? But what we want to see is that you are challenging yourself, you're trying, and that you reach out to resources and that you are successful, but you take it seriously, right? We call it like academic potential and academic excellence. So that's how important it is. It doesn't 100% define like how we view you or how far you get in the process, but I will say that these are really prestigious schools. So we're also not in the business of sending anyone there to fail, right? That's just not what we're here for. We provide all the resources. We do so much, but at the end of the day, if you don't take your academics seriously and we can see that on your transcript, then that won't look great, right? So that's the only thing I can say about that. It's a really good question though. Caitlin, I see your hands up.
Yeah, I have a question. I think earlier this month I was on the website and I saw something about a posse STEM program. Like, I don't know if that's the same scholarship or if it's a different thing.
Yeah, no, great question. So actually Posse Miami, we had 3 STEM partnerships. So that was Davidson, Franklin and Marshall, and Pomona. So when I was a trainer for those 3 schools, they were all STEM. Those were STEM posses. However, this past year, all of them went to traditional posses, which means anyone who wants to major in anything can go to any of our schools. So our STEM specific schools were only people who wanted to apply or wanted to major in science, technology, engineering, or math could only go be a part of Davidson, Franklin and Marshall, and Pomona. Now anyone with any major can go to all 6 of our schools. Yeah, good question. So do we know if the whole process for next year will be virtual? Great question. We don't know that yet. Right now, I'm assuming, especially DAP 1, right? Because it's like 100+ people. Our utmost priority is to make sure that you all are safe. So we're not going to put you in an unsafe position. I'm thinking it'll be virtual. They haven't fully came out with the decision yet, but I'm like 98% sure it's going to be at least DAP 1 and will be virtual. So we'll definitely keep you updated if you're nominated, and if you signed up through the form for more information, we'll definitely keep you updated on that, okay? And then does Posse let you choose whichever major program you're interested in for a certain school? 100%. You let us know. Listen, during DAP 2, I'm going to be like, what are your top 3 schools and why, right? I don't want to hear, I want Syracuse, and I will say the majority of people come through and want Syracuse, right? I don't want to hear like, oh, I want to be a part of a big school with like D1 sports, right? I want to bleed orange. I don't want to hear that. Everyone wants to do that when they come through. I want to hear, okay, what professors and what professors there have you researched that you're like, I want to do research with them, right? I want to take their class. This is what I want to major in and why. right? And I know I'm deviating a little bit off the question. To answer the question, yes, you get to choose. You let us know what major you want. We will not dictate your major ever. When would you guys contact us for grades and all of that? So the DAP 1, so say you're nominated, right, in May or June, you'll get notified, hey, you were nominated, fill out your DAP 1 application. At that point, it's very simple stuff. We're not asking for a transcript, we're not asking for any of that, but we are asking like what your, like you would self-report your GPA, stuff like that. When DAP 2 comes along, say you make it to DAP 2, that's when you'll submit your transcript. And Ms. Dwyer is going to help you with that, right? Help you get all of that prepared and ready for your DAP 2 interview, okay?
That's a great other thing. If you are going through this process, it doesn't stop you from doing your normal process of the college application process, because like Florida and Florida State are going to be, applications are going to be due November 1. You've got to do that. But to give you a perfect example, Brianna, how many schools did you apply to before Posse started?
51.
Now, don't do that, guys. Don't do that. But I just want to make sure you know that she was very aggressive. She got a hold of SCORE, and like I thought she was like Amazon shopping with a free credit card. So, just be aware you are going to go through the process normal, even until the day you make it to DAP 3, you are actually planning on a normal process.
Yeah. Does Posse let you do a dual major? Yes, we will absolutely. If you want to do it, we're not ever going to dictate what you want to major in, right? So I've had scholars dual major and have a minor. If that's what you want, right? Like we want to encourage you to reach for all your dreams, all your goals, but making sure though that you're staying on top of things, right? Because if we see you slipping, we are going to have that conversation of like, is this working for you? I have some students that are like, I'm going to be pre-med whether I flunk or not, right? And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense, because if you try to apply for med school or any graduate school, they're not going to accept you, right? So what makes the most sense? Like, let's brainstorm, let's dig deeper. So that's what we'll do. We'll always respect your choice though, and we'll always support you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other burning questions?
Okay, so I'm just going to say one more. I always have one last thing to say. So right now, you guys are sitting in my Zoom room. Okay, this is my office that if you want to reach out to me, you can pop in my room at lunch and come into this Zoom room. If you want to email me and set up an appointment, you can do that. If you want to set up an appointment with Mrs. Dwyer, you can do that. She's in the building. I'm not. I think I've told you this before, but you are literally in my Zoom room. So if you just keep this link and you'll know it. And Ms. Dwyer, all you have to do is email if you're MSO and you want to talk to her. Okay? Jess, thank you so much. You're amazing. This whole program, you know how much I love Posse. And I'm glad that all you guys came out. Did you want to end it up or you want me to?
No, I just want to say, though, you can definitely end it. I just want to say thank you for just being here and listening to my spiel. I really hope I see most of you come out through the Posse process. Again, reach out to me if you have any questions, but y'all are a really cool group of students and I'm really excited that I was here. So thank you.
So this is almost as good as the auditorium was. This is actually pretty good. I like this. So guys, thank you. I'm going to stay on till you guys all hang up if you have any questions you want to do. And Jess, I'll talk to you soon. Posse Scholars, super proud of you. And guys, thank you. Have a great weekend, great day. Geez, I thought it was Friday for a second. One more day.
Feels like Friday, doesn't it?
It feels like does. It feels like Friday.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Good break.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm always curious to see who's last. I knew who's going to be last. I could bet on this. It could be a contest between Gianna and Angelina.
Why did I know this would happen? Why did I know we would all end up together at the end?
Yeah. But you figure one is my neighbor. One is my neighbor. Okay, so two of the three of you live within a half a mile of my house.
We were talking about this. We're like, he's right over there.
We
Like,
almost went to visit. I have Julian over here too because his Wi-Fi's out.
we almost crashed. And we were talking about, like, he's literally right over there. He's talking. And he's like, I was very tempted to go.
Well, if you're his neighbor, do you know that Mr. Nuremberg's birthday is on Friday? Just thought I'd mention it.
Mr. Nuremberg.
Friday.
Elected to
Gifts
tell
are
us.
welcomed.
What do you want, Mr. Nuremberg?
I have everything I need. I'm a lucky.
He wants presents. Give him presents.
I'm making you brownies and you can.
Perfect.
Their presence is all I need. Right?
Famous baked goods.
What did you say, Brianna?
I said your famous baked goods.
My famous baked goods. I gave Mr. Nuremberg a brownie last year. I don't know if he remembers.
I do remember that.
I'll make you a box of brownies and I'll bring them to your house.
But I will tell you that that Julia's mom and Kimmy's mom have been keeping me fat this whole pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's always baking. She just makes muffins. I've been blessed enough to have some of Lori and Kimmy's baked goods.
Lori's baked goods.
I mean, really, when the crisis was at its biggest, they were like bringing food. They thought I was an old man, and they kept bringing me food every day.
Your mom loves her black bean burgers.
Oh,
Yo,
does.
those are so good.
I haven't tried them. I've heard about them.
They're actually very good. I'm a fan.
How are y'all feeling about this process?
It seems quite fun.
It is.
A little bit scary, but we're gonna be okay.
Really, honestly,
Yeah.
I was
like Dean
on the edge of
the
tears.
Dean part. I'm like, that's scary.
Everything
Like
else
the
sounds
third
fun.
round and having like the dean of admissions. That's just
I did not know that was a thing.
scared
I was like, okay, that's gonna
The, the coolest part of the final round, I didn't say it in front of everybody, was for me, it was like super exciting because Brianna texted me right away and she found out. And then Kayla texted me and then she found out. And then, help me, Alexis got her text and she found out. So they all knew they won, but they didn't know each other won. And they were afraid to
Together,
tell each
together.
other. So I said to them, I said to each one individually, FaceTime with me. I want to congratulate you. So they all came on exactly at the same time.
That's so funny.
And we had a party. It was really so much. It was like one of the highlights of my career. It really was. It was super amazing. And then
Fun. So they all know each
all
other's-
three finals. So they all and we had 3 winners at Davidson before. We had a brother, sister, and another girl win once. And so I kept telling them before, you're not competition. You could be a great team. And they went in there and they obviously blew the interview out.
I
So-
honestly think that like I was talking to people the other day and they're like, oh, it seems so competitive. And I was like, no, I feel like it's the exact opposite. This is 100% teamwork and trying to like uplift each other and like help each other through it. Because like regardless of what happens, we should feel happy for like the people that get it. And like I've just heard that the experience is really amazing. So like if we just have that, like that's super cool.
Like,
I'm super excited.
like, even Angelina and I, because Angelina was texting me and she was like, oh my God, Hamilton.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Hamilton.
The way my jaw dropped, I got really excited. Like, yeah, because
I
that
really-
was like everything that you wanted in a school.
Did you notice that Syracuse was
Like I literally saw like
Oh, it's so perfect. It's okay.
Did you notice that Syracuse was the only ugly picture? That they didn't make Syracuse look like
God,
fantastic.
they made it look super weird. I was like, okay.
most people actually go for like Syracuse because I wouldn't.
I didn't think that.
I would
I
put
thought-
Syracuse in like my top choices, but not as my first one. I know a
I
lot of
wouldn't
people
What
that
was that?
Syracuse.
Danny,
Uh,
what did you say the first one was now?
Oh no, Syracuse. I've never had I don't have a top
Oh,
yet
okay.
because like I mean I haven't been to them, like I don't really know much, but like Syracuse would probably be in like my top grouping, but I don't think that'd be my first choice.
Syracuse.
Too
is a
many
top
people
for a lot
want
of
it.
people. Yeah, so
Like
many
I think
people.
if you're going for this scholarship, like go for the other schools. For I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
everyone
based
loves
off
Syracuse.
this.
I told Miss Dwyer this. I love the smaller the better. I want to be in a class size that's super tiny. I just like
This.
to interact with
This is our class.
You went like no.
But I love that's my second like you
Yes,
know,
I knew. That's the first thing I said. I
No,
was like
when-
Angelina Mount Holyoke.
When
for
she
sure.
mentioned it, we were like,
Julian.
I didn't
I
know.
love that Holyoke. That's my
Julian.
Julian, I love you.
Guys, I need to be at a rehearsal in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Jack has a lacrosse game, so I'm gonna go.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
Oh, hold on.
Um,
I talked to Dobbs. Composting's a go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, I'm moving whoever this angle is out. Okay, go ahead. I still know
Remember,
who he
we're gonna
was.
go see you soon.
I said composting's a go. We talked to Dobbs and
Is it
I
go?
it's a go.
That's great. I'm glad. We were just talking, I was talking with the Valero about, we were just today, Ms. Dwyer and I and her were talking about the composting going on.
I have an exciting thing I'm going to go do because I have an internship with SAVE, like the foundation for like LGBTQ rights and whatever. And I'm gonna go be on a panel to interview candidates
How
for
nice.
endorsements, which is really exciting.
Congrats, that's awesome.
I guess I should stop the recording. Uh-oh.